Welcome back to IAS Net Study, and this is the ethics series, and this is the 12th video in this ethics series. We were discussing attitude, the second unit, and there are few more topics are remaining, and we are going to cover these topics in the 11th, or I think this is the 11th video. So let's get into the discussion of this. Topic is cognitive dissonance. What exactly this cognitive dissonance means? As the name indicates, cognitive dissonance. Cognitions are your belief system. Dissonance is that some kind of discomfort or some kind of tussle. Usually tussle happens between when there are two conflicting things. Here tussle is happening, you have a contradictory belief system, or you have a contradictory values, or you have a contradictory attitude. And when you have these kind of contradictory belief system, this is going to create some kind of mental discomfort, this is going to create some kind of psychological stress. So cognitive dissonance is a situation where you feel that mental discomfort because you have some contradictory belief system. Contradictory one belief system is it's one thing and your behavior is something else. As an example, take an example of smoking. Your attitude is towards there is a positive attitude towards health. You want to have a healthy body. This is your attitude, positive attitude towards the health. But at the same time you have a behavior, the affinity towards cigarette smoking. So here what happens, your belief, it is positive towards health, but your behavior, you are addicted to smoking. Now there is a contradictory. One side it is telling that smoking is injurious to health, another side you are addicted to smoking. So how do you deal with that? There is a tussle going on in your head, there is a psychological discomfort, there is a mental discomfort. So this situation is called cognitive dissonance, and this is what here also it is talking about. See, this cognitive dissonance is very important to sort it out. When you have these kind of mental discomfort, this is going to create a lot of trouble in decision making. You cannot, you it is difficult to take one decision when you have to take a, when you are in very whether it is an ethical dilemma or conflict of interest. In these kind of situation, if you have cognitive dissonance also, it will be very difficult to take a decision. So it is very necessary to understand this cognitive dissonance, and in order to stick, either you stick to your one belief system, ignore the another behavior, or you commit to one behavior, ignore the another belief system. By doing this you can eliminate this. But this is very important, cognitive dissonance elimination is very important, especially if you want to make a decision. You have, if you want to take a decision, you are a public servant and you have to make a decision in these kind of dilemmas, you should not have cognitive dissonance. So decision making, or even if you want to change attitude, that also attitude change also, you need to avoid these kind of cognitive dissonance. Or in many contexts like ethics and governance also, it plays very important role. Next question is, you have this cognitive dissonance, you are health conscious, at the same time you smoke regularly. Then this is going to create some kind of mental stress, this is going to create some kind of mental disorder. Now how do you reduce this dissonance, how do you reduce this discomfort? The first thing is, I told you that there is a belief and there is a behavior. Belief is with respect to health, and behavior is with respect to smoking. Now, in order to eliminate this mental discomfort, in order to eliminate this dissonance, either you eliminate this belief system or you eliminate this behavior system. Either do this or do that, then you can eliminate it. Eliminate this. Change the one thing, either you can change the smoking. By changing the smoking, you eliminate that tussle here. So one side health, another side smoking. So by eliminating this behavior of smoking cigarette, then there is no dissonance in your mind, there is no mental discomfort. Or you change the belief system, you change it that I don't care about my health, then also you're not going to have this mental discomfort, you're not going to have this dissonance. This is one way to handle this. Or you can add justifying thoughts. Justifying thoughts is like, you are smoking and you say that every day I work almost 1 hour, I eat healthy diets, I go for regular health checkups. By doing this, you are strengthening this belief system. It means that by doing this, I am ensuring healthy body. So even though I am smoking, I am making sure that I'm maintaining the healthy physique, I'm making sure that I'm maintaining the healthy body. This, you are justifying your actions with these kind of things. So this is also one of the ways to eliminate the discomfort, eliminate the dissonance. So by adding or justifying new thoughts. And another way is trivializing the conflict. You have that conflict, health versus smoking. There is a habit of smoking and you're concerned about your health. Sorry. Now what happens? Trivializing attitude is that I don't care. I don't care for about smoking also. I don't care about the health also. Or else chalta hai attitude, that it's okay, it's fine. I'm fine with that. Even by trivializing the conflict, you're not going to create some kind of mental distress. You don't even care about it. You don't even care about smoking. You don't even care about health. Now that also one of the ways to handle it, trivialize the conflict. Then comes selective exposure. Selective exposure is that you avoid information that increases dissonance and seek out information that confirms existing belief. See, either you select, you focus only on health thing, or you focus only on the smoking thing. By doing this selective exposure, by ignoring another thing, still you can eliminate these kind of conflicting thoughts in your head. I am not even going to talk to the person who tells continuously that smoking kills, smoking kills, smoking is injurious to health. I'm not even going to listen to that. I'm only focusing, my behavior is that I focus only on that. Rest of the things I'm really not worried. Even this kind of selective exposure is also one of the ways. See, I'm not telling whether it is right or wrong. This is the way to eliminate this kind of mental distress. Whether it is ethical, whether it is right, whether it is wrong, we are not talking about it. We are only talking about how to eliminate this discomfort. Now the next is self reflection or mindfulness. So this is more of positive in nature. See, you engage in honest self examination, and you understand what inconsistency are there, my beliefs and my behavior, there is an inconsistency, you understand these inconsistencies and you work towards the change. And this is more positive in nature. Last one is quite negative in nature. You selectively take one thing and you avoid another thing, but here you work on the change, there is a positive change, so it enhances mental clarity and emotional regulation. This is also one of the ways to eliminate the mental discomfort. And then open dialogue. You talk to a person who you think genuine, or where you think the person A is going to give a very good solution for any kind of problem. So you go to that person and you talk to that person, you tell the genuine issue what you are facing. Then also you receive the inputs and you take a decision on that. Even open dialogue feedback, that also works. That also one of the ways to handle this cognitive dissonance or make incremental changes. Now there is a health and there is a smoking. Now once in a while, see, I am taking one at a, either you want to, in order to eliminate this you have to take this or that. But even you can change gradually also. All of the sudden, if I tell that I'm going to leave smoking from tomorrow, even to handle that, it is also difficult. You know that this is injurious to health. Now you have decided I want to eliminate this. In order to do that, I am going to take that incremental change. Or you want to change your belief system itself, that also it is incremental in nature. So make incremental changes like small consistent behavioral adjustment. This help to build momentum forward, congruence with overwhelming resistance. So in this way also you can eliminate cognitive dissonance. So these are some of the ways to handle cognitive dissonance. So either change your belief system, change your behavior, or add justifying thoughts, or you can trivialize the conflict, or you can go for a selective exposure, or self reflection, mindfulness. This is also one of the ways. And open dialogue feedback and make incremental changes. All these are the ways to eliminate mental discomfort, all these ways to eliminate cognitive dissonance, right? This is with respect to cognitive dissonance. Now connect this cognitive dissonance with corruption. That whatever we were talking about smoking, now you can relate it with the corruption also. The same thing, cognitive dissonance with smoking, the same thing can be related to corruption also in administrative perspective, especially in the civil services. So you know that smoking kills, but you still continue. There is a behavioral addiction. It's the same way that you know that taking bribe is wrong, but you still continue taking bribe. Again, dissonance, you can relate it to it. And there is argument that usually in the first cigarette you usually feel some kind of guilt, later it becomes normal. Initially, even after having one cigarette, there is a guilty consciousness. Now you are going to have 5 cigarettes a day and you're fine with it. The same thing, first bribe, it usually you might feel little bit guilt, but after that it becomes normal. Then how do you reduce the dissonance, this kind of discomfort? You justify your actions by some reasoning. What are the reasoning? The same thing I told you, that by adding extra Justifications is that even though I smoke, I work out, I follow the regular diet, I go for regular health checkup. These are justifying thoughts. The same thing here also in the corruption also. What I do is, I know that I am corrupt, but I say that I'm not going to take very big amount. I go for small gratification, and I'm not going to take money from the poor people. All whatever the corruption I do, it is from the very big, whether it is from politicians or big industrialist. I'm not going to troubles the poor people or the villagers. So this is the justification I am giving. At the same time, in the smoking also, I tell that I'll quit later. So after some day I'm going to quit. In the corruption also, that if I make this much of money, maybe 5 crores, after that I'm not going to do that. So these kind of, you can relate that anti-smoking with the bureaucracy, the corruption example also. And my uncle, he smoked and he lived for 90 years. The same thing, I've seen my senior who worked very hard, but his life was miserable. At the same time, I've seen another senior who was also involved in corrupt relation activity. Now his family is very good, the children are doing very good. So again, the justifying thoughts, adding the justifying thoughts. So you can relate it, the parallel between bureaucracy, the parallel between the smoking, the two actions, two activities, and the parallel here. So you can link it, these kind of examples in the examination also, right? Now let's move to the final topic, moral attitude and political attitude. So let's talk about moral attitude. What exactly this moral attitude is? Attitude, values and attitudes, values here. These are some standards. I have personal stand. I have my standard is that I support hard work, I support punctuality, I support discipline. And here these are personal standards. And what is attitude? Attitude is that evaluation happens. I set my values in, I set my standards in values, and the evaluation happens at the attitude level. And because of evaluation, I have a factor of favor or positive attitude, or disfavor or negative attitude. So there is a factor of favor, there is a factor of disfavor here. So this is attitude. And what is moral attitude? See, if my attitude, if this evaluation is based on moral principles, then it becomes moral attitude, right? See, if I have a my hard work is my value system, sorry, smart work is my value system, and I am not going to respect the hard work, then this is not going to considered as a moral value. Because moral values, like, but some of the examples are integrity, compassion, dedication, loyalty. These are some of the moral values. And if your evaluation is happening based on these moral principles, then those are called moral attitudes. And examples I've told you. And let's see some of the moral attitudes. See, we are going to have a detailed explanation regarding this moral attitude, foundational values, in the third chapter, aptitude and foundational values. Here I'll just give the brief introduction. Honesty is one among the moral attitude. And what exactly the honesty is being truthful, being sincere. Or if you have to see from a civil services perspective, again, sincere, truthful, and integrated to the established rules and laws. From organizational perspective, in general, honesty is valuing truthfulness, valuing integrity, and being sincere, being truthful, all these things in your conduct. And then come compassion. Compassion is that, empathy is that I am connecting, I can feel what exactly you are going through. And compassion is that I understood what trouble you are in, I take some positive steps to help you. That is compassion. Then comes fairness. Fairness is being equal. There is no impartiality, there is no bias, treating everybody equally, everybody in a impartial way, or some kind of justice, following justice all the time. So fairness. Then come respect for life. Respect for life is that valuing every form of the life, and not to harm anybody, any living thing. So opposing any unnecessary harm here. So it goes against the act of violence, it goes against cruelty, and it goes exploitation of human beings or any living beings. And then comes responsibility. Responsibility, it's an act of answerable for my actions. So I have done something and I'm responsible for my actions, I am accountable for my actions, so you can question me. So this is responsibility. Loyalty. Loyalty is that commitment, is that faithfulness. If I am a soldier, I my loyalty is towards the nation. So it is faithfulness. Maybe at the organization level, it is faithful to the organization, faithful to public administration, or at the personal level, faithful to relationships, faithful to my friends, faithful to my family values. So this is loyalty. Loyalty, it involves confidentiality, it involves support, reliability. Whether it is another person, I have to showcase these features that I am confident. Whatever you say, I have to maintain that confidentiality, and I have to support you, and I have to be a reliable friend. So this is loyalty. And then comes reverence. Reverence is that respect towards moral principles, and I have to showcase these moral principles in my conduct also. So these are some moral attitudes. And the next is political attitude. Again, attitude, you know that there is a evaluation. So there is a positive attitude, there is a negative attitude. Negative attitude, there is a factor of favor or disfavor, right? But here, these are all related to political things. Political things, it means that political issues, policies, political institution, political leaders, the process of election, political party, everything. So your evaluation with respect to political things, political issues, or the opinions, your belief system, your emotions, everything comes under political attitude. And political attitudes are influenced by everything, whether it is attitude, behavior, everything. Whenever there is a question of source or factors influencing the two things, internal factors, external factors. Internal factors, my personal experience, my cognitions, my belief system. And external factors, everything around me: family, culture, economic situation, the leadership, education, religion, media, everything comes under it, right? But let's see this is important from a public service perspective. You are a civil servant or a public servant. Now, what are the political attitudes you need to have? So this is quite important. See, if I am a public servant, if I am a civil servant, then I have to have this political neutrality. Political neutrality is that whatever the government is, whether it a leftist government or the right government, I have to serve under all the government. My personal, see, think that you are a leftist, you are an officer, you are an IAS officer. Now the country is ruled by rightist government. Then even though you are a leftist, your personal ideology is different, but still you have to work for it. So that is political neutrality. If a politician from that political party asks you some advice, you have to offer your service without any bias. Or and whatever the instructions you give to a political representatives, you have to maintain that confidentiality. And whatever the decisions you say, whatever the advice you give, make sure that you fulfill the constitution morality. My individual value, I am a leftist, but I am working for a right wing government, but still I fulfill my constitutional morality. My loyalty is to the constitution. My individual bias, my individual political affiliations, it is not going to impact my working. And I have to uphold my professionalism. And I have whatever the even the implementation of plans, that has to be impartial. And I have to give my impartiality, my objectivity at work. So these are some political uh, desired political attitude of a servant: political neutrality, non-partisanship, constitution morality or loyalty to constitution, professionalism, impartial implementation, right? Now, usually, if you look at the various ideologies of political parties, we have a radical at one end, that complete change is required, and another end there is a reactionary. Reactionary is that we want to go back to the previous, whatever the old legacy we have, we want to get back to that. That is reactionary ideology. Liberal, they also want change, but not as radical as we see in the radical grouping. So liberal, and we have a moderate, and we have a conservatives. So these are different set of political ideologies. See, these are not important, but I'm just going through with that. I do If I start explaining all these things in detail, it takes a lot of time, and it is not at all important from ethics perspective, right? So this is with respect to political attitudes. And factors influencing, the same thing: internal factors, external factors. Internal factors, your experience, your cognition. External factors, your family, your upbringing, your education, economic status. See, for a rich person, if think that I am a rich person and I am happy with my life, I am happy with everything around me, then I don't need any change in the political setup. I am happy with that. But if I'm a poor person and I'm not happy with existing social setup, economic setup, then I need a change. Then my political ideologies are different from a rich person. So economic status also matters a lot. If I belong to some disadvantaged group, then I want some progressive reforms. But if I belong to a prosperous community, I don't look for this progressive reforms. I'm happy with whatever it is. I go for a status quo. And like that, religion, caste, culture, that also matters a lot. Your age also matters a lot. When you are young, usually you tend to be very liberal, and